Friends, this is a journey towards total health that we are going to talk about, and how yoga is used, how integrated approach of yoga is very, very important in moving towards total health is what, and how our sages were able to give this conceptual basis 5,000 years ago of a total approach, an integrated approach to move towards better health is what we hope to understand. We all have seen this definition of health given by World Health Organization. First thing they said is to health is a state of well-being. It's not just absence of illness or infirmity. Well-being at the physical, mental, social, and spiritual level. But where are we today? Today, if you go to a doctor and ask for a medical certificate, you will get a very long report, and you'll be asked to get a big list of blood tests, etc., done, x-rays done, ECGs done, etc. At the end of it, if everything is found to be well within the normal range, what do we certify? We certify NAD, 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 NAD. What does NAD stand for? Nothing abnormal detected. We are not certifying that you are positively healthy. So medical science has progressed so much to detect abnormality because it's also the need of the hour. When there is somebody sitting in front of you who is sick, who is very morbid, we need to understand the sickness, we need to help them, we need to bring them to normalcy. So all our time went in looking after the sick, but we have ended up with a problem today where even that has become a big, big challenge because we have ignored the other aspects of wellness. So let us look at the whole reason why this has happened. We are seeing pandemics in every century, increasing non-communicable diseases, in spite of all the progress that we have seen in the health scenario. What is the reason? The reason is the knowledge base. We looked at the whole system as a mega machine. It was in 16th century that the scientists were very fascinated with understanding of a lot of the mechanical aspects of the human system, and they declared that we don't need to go to any spiritual masters for health. No longer the monks or the priests will treat our patients. We know how to manage this mega machine, which is like a big clock, it gets spoiled, so we can correct it. So this is the scientific scenario of 400 years, which has brought us up to this level where we have ended up with a mega challenge. And today we are all, as a whole world, facing this pandemic. What is the reason? Reason is we have looked at the whole system only as the physical body, as a mega machine. We forgot the mind, we forgot the prana, we forgot the divinity within, etc., etc. And medical science has clearly said that these are all because of lifestyle. These are called as lifestyle problem, whether it is an infectious pandemic like what we are going through now, or a non-communicable disease like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, back pain, etc., right up to cancer and heart attacks. All these are traceable to lifestyle. 40 years of research has clearly established, and today in the pandemic also, we are seeing that these are all, these are the people with lifestyle diseases who have diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, old age, obesity, alcoholic, smokers, asthmatics who are succumbing to the pandemic. which are all again traceable to lifestyle. So therefore, it is the overall 100 or 50 years of rapid, fast, materialistic lifestyle that we have gone through, where we ended up eating wrong diet, lack of physical activity, became obese, developed bad habits of sleeping, eating, alcohol, smoking, tobacco. In our country, chewable tobacco has become a mega issue for all causes of cancer and mental emotional tension. Everybody talks about stress today, but we know about this, medical science has understood this, we have clearly established how important stress is, but how to handle this. In spite of knowing all this for 40 years, there is a lot of effort from the World Health Organization and all the health professionals to help people to do better, to promote this education. What is junk food, how to replace junk food, how to improve organic food. Exercise is so important. Parks are being improved, and people are told every packet of cigarettes says small letter smoking is injurious to health. Education has helped to some extent, but all these diseases are becoming a mega challenge. Why? Because all these are controlled by our mind, which decides our behavior. Therefore, when we look at the cause for all these health problems, not moving away from wellness, we find that the root cause is the mind, and it is the mind which results in all the diseases which are sitting on the branches. Therefore, let us straight away go ahead and understand what is this mind. And our sages were so smart. They said, Array, forget about all this understanding of the heart circulation, blood circulation, which is important, but go to the root cause, handle the mind, which is the root cause. Therefore, the entire research of our sages were focused on mind, to take a normal man to perfect health, better health, perfect health, divine health, and the highest form of evolution. So let us understand what is it in the mind that is causing all the problem. Let us, we all know what is mind. Mind is nothing but the thinking apparatus which uses this stuff called the brain, like a television set or a radio set, to function. If the television set or the radio set is not functioning all right, the TV cannot be seen. That doesn't mean brain is producing the mind. Mind is using the brain as an instrument to carry on its functions. And how shall we define mind? Mind can be said that it is thinking apparatus, all types of thinking. We classify all the types of thinking that we do as perception, analysis, memory, and emotions. The left brain work, right brain work. Both of them, all thinking, whether you are thinking of your professional work, emotional work, prema work, anger work, fear work, or grasping something, or doing lot of intellectual work, all these can be put under 4 categories. Amongst these, which is the one which is the culprit, which is creating problems, obviously it is our emotions. So the sages classified all our emotions under 2 categories: positive emotions and negative emotions. Replace all our long standing negative emotions by positive emotions of prema, maitri, karuna, mudita, and daya. These are all joy, happiness. These are all positive emotions which makes our life meaningful. We live for our positive emotions. We want to be happy people. So happiness is the real purpose of using all these mental activities to survive. This is positive aspect of our emotions. But there are the negative emotions, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, vatsarya, which the sages called as 6 enemies of mankind. Shadripu they call. All these, when they're persistent, long-standing, suppressed, is the root cause of all the health problems that we are facing, is what medical science has clearly understood. Long-standing anxiety, fear, depression, worry, agitation, frustrations, depressions, which are all the cause for long-standing, persistent, suppressed, is the root cause for all the problems that we go through, either it is a communicable disease or a non-communicable disease. So let us spend a little more time to understand what this stress is, how stress is defined by modern science, and how medical science has understood how this mind can create all the bodily problems, and how the yogis understood this. When we say I'm stressed, we say, oh my God, I'm going through a lot of stress, maybe office, family, finances, or going through major calamities. All these are paristhiti janya, which are created by the situations outside, and there are some vastujanya which we create for ourselves, internal targets, sensitivity, overambitiousness, stop not till the goal is reached. We go on and on and on with challenges, welcoming challenges. Sometimes if you are a type A personality or made very, very sensitive. I saw one lady, once I was conducting a lecture like this, and lecture was over. One lady came running behind me and said, Madam, what you said about this sensitive mind is exactly what my daughter is. She is in America. She is so sensitive. She worries too much. We have to help her and work on that. I said, yes, yes, yes. This is the grown mind, developed mind, evolved mind, highly intellectual mind, which can also develop this hyper emotional sensitivity of anxiety, fear, etc. And therefore, this is what our sages have taught us how to handle that. And I walked a few more steps, and a young lady, very smartly dressed, came running behind me and said, Madam, Madam, what you said about sensitivity is all about my mother. Who is your mother? The one who spoke to you just 2 minutes ago. So both the mother and daughter have become oversensitive. These are the inborn vastujanya demanding situations. But what is very, 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 very important for us to understand is stress is not a disease. Stress is nature's helpful mechanism to help us cope up with a demanding situation, like physically demanding situation. If there is a COVID infection, body has to invoke lot of stress responses to cope up with the infection, fight with the infection, strengthen our immune system, channelize our immune system to fight and kill the virus. In the process, lot of heat is generated in the form of fever, etc. But this is the nature's helpful mechanism which helps us to heal ourselves. So physically challenging situation when there is a trauma, body learns, uses the stress response to help ourselves. So these responses is the definition of stress. How the body copes up with the demanding situation is a stress adaptation mechanism that is inbuilt into our system, and that is the definition of stress itself. So what is very important as a yoga professional for us to make our participants understand is stress by definition is not the situation, but how we react to the situation, how we persevere, how we develop these emotional responses. So it is a protective response for survival, And for this, nature has set up this beautiful mechanism of a, say there is a mild infection or injury, also physically demanding situation, there will be some degree of fear. But if there is no situation, only emotionally challenging situation, we go through fear, anxiety, etc. And that is the one which is a starting point. That works onto the body and increases all these activated functions, heart rate increasing, blood pressure increasing, BP increasing. All these happen to help us cope up with the demanding situation. Say, for example, you are all seated here, suddenly there is a fire alarm in your house. What should we do? We get a little fear, little anxiety, which helps us to stimulate the entire nervous system, activate the entire nervous system, release lot of chemicals, stimulates the hypothalamus, and activates the sympathetic nervous system to do all these, which helps us to run away from the situation, increase the blood pressure, increase the heart rate, increase the breathing rate to supply more oxygen, makes our muscles very strong and high tone, reduces the digestive blood flow, makes our eyes open wide. When there is heat generated, lot of sweating, which helps us to run away, which helps us to fight the situation. And this mechanism, medical science has clearly understood. We have understood what is this mechanism, how when there is an emotionally challenging situation, which part of the brain called the limbic cortex is activated. There is a lot of nervous activity in the limbic area, which sends down messengers to hypothalamus, which is a stress button, small group of a million nerve cells, but these control all the functions, all the adrenaline, noradrenaline, sympathetic nervous system, everything is controlled by this hypothalamus, which is the stress button, and that activates the entire body mechanisms to help us with the coping situation. And once the situation is over, the whole thing gets back to normalcy, and we cope up with, we rest the system, reduce this overtone, and then we get back to normalcy. But what is happening in modern lifestyle, it is not only the physically challenging situation like an infection or injury or pregnancy, which may happen 2 times, 5 times in a lifetime, but in the modern lifestyle, it's all the psychologically challenging situation. Large number of these demanding situations ended up with hypersensitivity, and we have no time to get back to normalcy. Even if we have time, we have forgotten how to get back to normalcy, and this has become a habit, and this habituated overreactivity of the nervous system is the one which is causing this imbalance, which results in a habit. So once the BP goes up, it never comes down. Up, 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 up for 5 years. Then we go to the doctor, BP is checked, and it is 180 by 100. Oh, you are declared as hypertensive. Glucose up, 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 up. We get declared as diabetic. Muscles tight, 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 tight. Neck pain, back pain. We get declared as cervical spondylosis or arthritis or gastric ulcer. So all these conditions are the understanding of how mind, long-standing, persistent, suppressed emotions in our challenging lifestyle of coping is creating the problem. Very clearly understood. What I told you in the last 10 minutes is only 0.5% of the knowledge that the medical science has. There are thick books, very, very large amount of knowledge base of how this causes this has been understood. But what we do not know in medical science is what to do with this fellow, the monkey mind, what to do with these emotions, how to handle this mind. This is where we are stuck, and therefore we have not found answers. Even in this pandemic, let me share what is happening. One gets a virus, body get fever, cough, and then one starts becoming a little breathless. And COVID, the media has made it such a big issue. My God, I've got COVID, I've got COVID, will I die of this, will I die of this, will I die of this? And once you start developing breathlessness, need a little oxygen, finished. My God, I'm going to die, I'm going to be isolated, I'll be away from family. I remember one lady, very elderly person, who was admitted in a nearby village here. She said, please don't take me to the hospital because I know I'm going to die of COVID. There will be no relative to do my antyakriya. Therefore, please don't take me. That fear. Oh, what are all the things that go one nowadays in the second wave? Though there are itna problem ho raha hai. One young man dies and left leaving two young children and the wife, no financial support. It's become a big issue. And while in the hospital isolation, away from all the family, what is his mind going through? Enormous fear, enormous frustration, enormous challenge which the person cannot cope, and that is the one which is causing what we call as cytokine storm. A cytokine storm is the one, it in other words is overreactivity of our immune system, which goes and causes inflammation and fighting in all other tissues of the body where there is no virus. So what is causing death? In fact, in the early days of the pandemic, for almost 3-4 months, when large number of fatalities happened in UK and Italy, we did not realize that it is our own body over in hyperinflammation which is killing people. And only then we realize that we have to suppress our own immune system rather than going on giving pro-inflammatory or giving antiviral medication. So it's our own body which is killing ourselves. Why? Because of the mind, cytokine storm. So this is the understanding which medical science has understood. But what are we doing? I'm requesting many COVID centers to introduce some simple relaxation techniques in the ICUs. Nobody is listening to us. So this understanding of what to do with the mind, how to handle the mind, medical science is totally alien to it. Although psychologists are doing some behavioral therapies, etc., etc., it is here that this knowledge of Panchakosha Viveka and definition of stress, which are very important. I'm not going to spend much time explaining the Panchakosha Viveka. All that the sages said was, they are not only this mega machine which is doing all the job, it is only the physical, chemical molecule which is forming the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body. But what makes this functional? What is the difference between a dead body and a living person? Dead body also has all the chemicals, all the RNA, DNA, same way. But what makes him live, do the functions is the prana. So there is this aspect of your personality, the pranamaya kosha. And in all these conditions, there is too much of uncontrolled excessive pranic activity, which is getting locked up in the tissues, which is damaging the tissues, is the understanding of a disease. Why there was too much of prana? Because behind the prana is our mind component. Mind does these four functions, as I told you: perception, analysis, memory, and emotions. The perception and emotions are the lower mind. Intellect or the buddhi and memory or the higher mind or the vijnanamaya kosha. So it is the mind, the lower mind, which gets stuck in our emotions. My God, I've been diagnosed with diabetes. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I mean, all my life I'll not be able to eat sweets. I'm going to die of kidney problem. I'm going to die of eye problem. I'm going to die of heart problem. This gets stuck in the mind, which is the response to this perception. I perceived that I've got diabetes. Immediately there was a fear response, which is the lower mind. Whereas at the background, the Vijnanamaya Kosha is telling him, Array, there are enough medicines. There are thousands of people who have lived with a healthy lifestyle. You will not be dying. All that you need to do is to take care of your lifestyle. I'll go to listen to the right doctors who will advise me on how to manage my diabetes. Vijnanamaya Kosha is telling, but the lower mind is getting disturbed. So it is the lower mind or the Manomaya Kosha which controls the prana. And there is too much activity in the Manomaya Kosha. It activates the prana also. When I have to think too much, I need more prana there. So I draw more prana there and go on getting habituated. I cannot switch off the mind, and that is the one which causes a long-term imbalance. And I get away from the mastery from the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And what is the function of the Vijnanamaya Kosha? Memory, right knowledge, which helps us to always remain in the stable, healthy, balanced, the state of total knowledge, state of total bliss, state of total power, which is inbuilt within us, which is called Anandamaya Kosha. We have come away from that and creating all the problems. So the big culprit is the mind. Therefore, in the mind or the Manomaya Kosha, or in the emotions, the sage wants to ask you a very simple question. Sage is asking you, my dear child, you have understood that all your problem is your uncontrolled emotion. Tell me from your own experience, what is happening in your mind when you say you are emotionally charged? Take an example. I have to go and face an important interview. I am very anxious. Imagine the situation and tell me now what is happening in your mind when you say that you have enormous fear of the interview. What is that? What is happening in your mind? Important interview. Hi, I wish I do very well. What if I don't do very well? These three thoughts. It helped you to prepare for the interview. But now, 2 minutes, it has become very anxious. What is the difference between these three thoughts which helped you 2 months ago, but it is creating problem? Now your mind is not thinking of anything other than this. Important interview, oh, I wish I do very well. What if I don't do very well? Same thoughts. But what is the quality in those thoughts which you call as anxiety, which is creating all the confusion, all the problem, all the sweating, all the tremulousness and confusion? Only one very clear understanding is it has just picked up enormous speed. My God, important interview. I should do very well. What if I don't do well? Kya hoga, 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 kya hoga. It has picked up enormous speed, and I allowed myself to get lost in that speeded up, uncontrolled rewinding of sentences in my mind. I lost my Vijnana, I lost my Ananda, I got drawn by this whirlpool of thoughts, and that percolated as excessive prana activity and created all the problem. And imagine this happening over a long period of time chronically and gets settled down in the Annamaya Kosha is the understanding. Therefore, in all these negative emotions, can you see one common factor, that is uncontrolled, speeded up, rewinding of sentences in the mind, which is creating all the problem by releasing wrong chemicals, etc. This is what beautifully Krishna described in Bhagavad Gita in this shloka. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गः तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधः उपजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः. And in all these, can you see how the thoughts are picking up speed, violence, and that violence which started in the mind is percolating into the whole body, settling down as early aging changes or immune imbalance or direct psychiatric problem or musculoskeletal problem or autonomic nervous system problem. etc., etc. So the root cause is the speed of the mind, and that is what the sages talked about when they talked about whether it is an infection or injury or toxic outside cause, which is called as anadhija vyadhi, where it is the mind that is very, very important. And yoga helps in stabilizing that by working on the mind, and which is very important in the pandemic situation. But even in all these conditions, which is yes, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, back pain, acidity, asthma, right up to cancer. What is the solution? Work on your mind. Emotional stability is the solution. So, how do we do it? Simple understanding. Everything was violent. Speed, so reduce the speed. Where mind, prana, body, in the tissue, where the lot of speed is locked up toxins. So reduce the speed here, reduce the speed here, reduce the speed here, and speed कम करते 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 slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. कहाँ पहुँचना है? Total silence, zero thought state, deep, zero activity in the joint where there is an inflammation, zero activity in the heart where there are blocks, zero activity in the neck, through deep, deep local rest, deep, deep balance is the whole of the principle which is called as Manaprashamana Upaya Yoga. So through that we reach the state of MMM, mastery over the modifications of the mind, or mastery over the monkeying of the mind. Mind is monkeying me, pulling me into my anxieties, fears, tensions, worries, which is percolating and settling down in the body. Therefore, I have to get this monkey under control, not by fighting with the monkey, not by trying to hold the monkey, but give प्रेम से, प्यार से, धीमे गति से मन को अपना कंट्रोल में रखना, अपना संतुलन में लाना. That is what is the meaning of mastery over the modifications of the mind. And this is the whole of the summary. Situation, response, violence, and therefore we can change this response pattern by this process of slowing down, mastery, and give deep, deep rest to the system. And it is this deep rest at the physical level, breathing level, mind level, by giving deep relaxation technique, instant relaxation technique, quick relaxation technique, or cyclic meditation, or meditation. All these are the ones which help us to go into a balanced, harmonious function of the body, and that is Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. So, all these are said as the concept. So, what is the concept? We have to go into that deep rest. But how to do it? This is where we need techniques. So, all these are the techniques that the sages have given us at the physical level: simple, wholesome vegetarian diet, cleansing techniques, detoxification, kriyas, asanas, breathing techniques, pranayama, meditation, and notional correction. Very, very important. Why am I rushing and speeding? What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of life? Is money giving me the right type of happiness? Why am I rushing and speeding? Can I be contented with the joy that I get out of my righteous way of earning, righteous way of living, righteous way of managing life is the understanding and work with Karma Yoga concepts. So all these are promoted, taught in the right way to our participants, with starting from the healthy diet. And the sages talked about the effect of food on the mind, not only the nutritional content, the vitamin content, or the protein content, or the carbohydrate, which is necessary. That is the Annamaya Kosha part. But yoga is all about the mind. So what is the effect of food on the mind? So if you take certain types of food, it makes you lethargic, takes you lazy, drowsy, loses mastery. They call them as tamasic food. Some types of foods make you very rushy, very stressed, very angry, very agitated, very excited. They call this type of food as rajas. In fact, onion and garlic were detected as aphrodisiac sex stimulants, and there is enough data to show that they activate the system. After this, large amount of onion is being exported out of our country to Arabian countries. Sattva is the one which makes the mind calm and composed. So this what are the types of food? Simple, wholesome, vegetarian, freshly cooked, organic, with moderate spices. Yukta ahara. Only one word they said. Yukta. Moderation, 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 moderation. Moderation in quantity, moderation in frequency, moderation in type of foods, moderation in variety. And therefore, even if you want to eat a junk food, take a small quantity at the end of your healthy vegetarian food. It's not going to be dangerous. But when you are hungry, you have not been sleeping properly, go and eat 2 burgers. That too, eat a burger and keep working on your computer is the wrong habit that one has to change and work on ourselves. So exercise part in yoga we incorporate through loosening practices and Surya Namaskara, etc. Then come to Kriyas. All Kriyas are detoxifying. It helps in working on our detoxification, which is the first part, clearing the bowel. In fact, as a yoga teacher, first thing I request all of you to talk to your participant is, how is your bowel habit? If they are constipated, teach them Vamana Dhauti, teach them Labhusanka Prakshalana, give them some laxative, change their diet pattern to clear the bowel first, which is the first toxin. Then Vamana Dhauti, then is Neti. Neti is found to be very, very useful during this pandemic also. Trataka, all these are very, very important to cleanse the digestive tracts and all the tracts that are open to the outside, where the kapha is locked up, with all these are will be useful. Then we do the asana. Patanjali gave only 1, 2, 3 sutras related to asana. He didn't describe all the asanas. He said, my dear Hatha Yogis, you are doing 2500 asanas. When you do that, you are doing lot of effort, which I appreciate. After you have done the asana, after you have learned all the asanas, after you have been doing all the prayatna to learn an asana, I will teach you how to make this asana a useful tool to reach to that state of MMM, mastery over the modification of the mind, samatvam of the mind, prashamana of the mind. Because asana is one tool, pranayama is one tool, meditation is one tool. So they said, my dear child, you are now holding on an asana. You are putting lot of effort to keep the body in that position. Once you have reached the final posture, there is minimal effort required. Until we reach the final posture, there is lot of effort. After you have reached, you now close your eyes, relax the whole body without losing the final posture. First instruction, prayatna shaithilya. Let go of the effort and relax your mind, keep your face smiling, look at all parts where there is unnecessary extra contraction, and then come to the point where there is an enormous stretch that you are experiencing. In case of diabetes, for example, we use Ardha Matsyendrasana, Vakrasana, Dhanurasana. So bring your mind to the point where the pancreas is situated, lot of abdominal fat is situated. Focus your mind on that part. Mind, you come to that part, focus the mind, do dharana there, and from there he says, move on to do relaxation, prayatna shaitilya, in that tissue, in that cell, in that area where the stretch is being experienced. And from there, go into Ananta Samapatti, diffuse, merge yourself in the vastness. And after you have maintained and diffuse, 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 forget yourself. In fact, I had one patient who reduced his blood pressure drastically. My therapist came running and asked me, Madam, BP has suddenly dropped. Please check this patient. Dropped to normal level. It used to be high daily and it came to 110/70 and patient was very happy. I asked him, please tell me, why do you think your BP has come down so drastically today? Madam, आज सुबह मैं जब आसना कर रहा था, आसन के बाद वो मेडिटेशन में गया, मेरा मन इतना शांत हो गया, इतना शांत हो गया, मैं ओम बन गया था. From the asana position, I went into identification with Om, and the whole day मैं इतना आनंद में हूँ. पूरा प्रशांति कुटीरम आनंद का गूंजन में मैं डूब गया हूँ बोलते हैं. So that experience of स्वल्पमप्यस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्, touch that idea, absorption into that Om experience from the point of your stretch, and that repairs the whole thing, is the understanding. Easily said than done. We need many more techniques. So pranayama is one such technique. We start with simple body movements to help them to recognize what is breathing, how to synchronize breathing, how to balance the breathing by combining it with body movements. Then go directly to pranayama. The principle is Shwasa Prashwasayoho Gati Vicheda Pranayamaha. Slow deep breathing, mastery over excessive speed, balancing of the breath, and reduce the sympathetic tone is the principle in all these breathing practices. So, moving on, we directly go to the mind. In the mind, we use meditative techniques. When they are sick people, it's not easy to give them long duration of meditation because mind is so agitated, mind is so difficult to control. So prepare them through pranayama and give short meditation. And for that, this concept of cyclic meditation has been evolved by reference from Gaudapada Rishi. Then when you sit with the participant and talk to them, there will be a large number of emotional suppressions. Open it up, talk to them, help them how to replace our violent emotions by soft emotions, by the concept of Parama Prema Bhava in Bhakti, surrender to the divine, etc. Then Gnana Yoga to understand the concept of silence even during Sukha Bhoga, how happiness analysis helps us to reach that state of inner silence and help them to work on that. So it is these silencing practices that are practiced that help us to move on. As all of you may be knowing, as Menanji was mentioning, ours is a research institution, Swami Vivekananda Yoganusandhana Samsthana, where we have a research laboratory, Center for Yoga Research. We have all the necessary equipment starting from recording of the brainwaves to molecular level of looking at the genes, and through this we have been able to reach this publications and help people to move towards a total personality, total Vyaktitva, moving from our animal instinctual level to normal human being, great human being, and a divine human being. And our laboratory has got all these instruments and equipments, and our university has a large number of studies that have had more than 600 publications in all these diseases. And I would like to share that We have all these courses. We are now, yoga has become a profession, as Menanji was saying. He completed his MSc. We have got medical degrees, BNYS, Bachelor of Naturopathy and Yogic Sciences, MD for medical graduates. Okay. So these are all some of the ideas that we go through and we work on that. Thank you. I can take some questions now. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll stop here and let me take some questions.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Exit the screen, please, madam.
Yeah. One
Exit.
by one, we can take our questions. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands. We will take one question. Please. It is a very nice presentation. Thank you, ma'am, so much.
Excellent.
Yeah, excellent. Very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dilip Dave, please ask the question. Unmute yourself, Dilip. Please unmute.
Okay. Uh, Thank you,
Namaskar,
madam.
Dilip bhai.
Yeah. Thank you very much, madam, for nice session. I just wanted to know about the Vigyanmay course, where you have mentioned the notational correction and happiness analysis. So if you can little bit elaborate on those two concepts, so that we can understand well to implement in day-to-day life.
See, when participants, I'll take a simple example of a diabetes patient. He wants to get mastery over his craving for sweets. So, how do you use this knowledge of happiness analysis from the Upanishad? Upanishad went on to make us understand in Taittiriya Upanishad the whole of the Ananda Mimamsa. But how do I apply it to these participants? And what is, say, not many diabetics will say I got a craving for sweet. नहीं तो मैं तो स्वीट खाता ही नहीं, परंतु उसको देखो उसका टेबल पे चार लड्डू रहता है. So this is where we cheat our mind. But this person, say, is very sincere and wants to know how to get mastery over his sweet craving. So the sages went on to make us understand, okay, you take a piece of your laddu, put it on your tongue, and then see what is your experience. Aha, experience. इतना आनंद है, बहुत दिनों से लड्डू नहीं खाया था, इतना आनंद हो गया. तो in that state of aha experience, for a fraction of a second, you have touched the deep inner silence, which you interpreted as laddu sukha. So it is the laddu touching the tongue, Vishaya Sambhoga ka jab happened, it drains your prana to that extent that your mind has touched the zero thought state. And this sages go on to explain in the sexual happiness also. Prayaya striya parishvaktaha na kanchana bahyam veda na kanchana antaram veda. You are not a father, you are not a mother, you are just at that state of deep silence. And that silence, you projected it onto the object and went on craving for more and more and more of that. So if you understand this concept, now आपने थोड़ा लड्डू लिया, टंग पे रखा, and then इतना अच्छा है. Let me spend more time on staying in that state of ananda rather than gobble 10 laddus. Let me take one piece. Silence. That small piece. Mind, what is happening in your mind? I want more. Okay. One more small piece. I want more. One more small piece. So do sweet meditation and understand that happiness is not the laddu, but it is my inner state of mind for which I depended on laddu, and therefore one gets mastery over the laddu by this understanding and notional correction and working on this. Like this, we can work on all bhoga and get rid of all the objects, indriya sukha, agents, and stay in that silence. That's what you're teaching in your home meditation. What are you teaching? Om, 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 bol ke silence mein chale jao. So that is the withdrawal that happens once you understand.
Didi, I also always used to give this example in my class. The gulab jamun. They are teasing me. You are gulab jamun, like that only. Because I get idea from you only, that gulab jamun's idea. Yeah,
Okay.
one ma'am is Suchitra ma'am is telling you something, sharing her experience. Please, Suchitra ma'am, you can unmute yourself and please share your experience.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮೇಡಮ್, ನಾನು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಸುಚರಿತಾ. ನನ್ನ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಕೇಳೋದು. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟ್ರೂಲಿ ಬ್ಲೆಸ್ಡ್ ಟು ಲಿಸನ್ ಟು ಯು, ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ Bangalore. I am happy to share that I was taking 110 units of insulin. Now I have brought down to 12 units, madam. I wish to make it to 0 with the yoga, with the diet, and now I have also joined YIC course, so that knowledge is like light. The you learn and you spread. It helps
Karma
others.
yoga ho gaya.
Yes, madam. So I am learning through one Niharika, who is your student. ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ನಿಮ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ. ತುಂಬಾ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಸಿಕ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ. ನಿಮ್ I am from here. Please accept my namaskaram on your feet. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Suchitra madam. Thank you. One of our colleague, Dr. Premchand Jain, the senior educator, will share some experience. Please, Jain sir, are you there? Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very nice lecture and brief and informative. I met her long back.
Yeah,
when we came there. When we came for one conference, and with Nagendra ji, we have been meeting him in various conferences. Unfortunately, we did not meet. We had no chance whenever meeting in those conferences. But I've seen your institute also, and it is very nice. And now more than 10 years ago, it must have been modernized now. And
more buildings only, but
Yeah.
there is nothing much
Okay,
change.
thank you so much. मैम, मैं आपको एक शेयर करना चाहता हूँ. यस अरुण जी, प्लीज एक मिनट. नागरत्न दीदी जी, मैं बहुत हैप्पी हूँ क्योंकि आप हिंदी में बात कर रहे हो. इसके लिए मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. Because I always seen you are talking in English language. Now you are talking in Hindi. Really, I am very much happy.
चाहे तो हिंदी में ही बात कर सकती हूँ.
Yes. अच्छा अरुण जी, प्लीज आस्क.
मेरा योगा का जो अनुभव है, माई एक्सपीरियंस विथ योगा इज वेरी ब्यूटीफुल. I was working in Coal India.
Okay.
And on the post, I retired from the post of Deputy General Manager Finance. At that time, my company sent me 2-3 premier yoga institutes. That is Bihari School of Yoga, and one is International Yogpeeth Murthal, then Kaivalya Dham Research Institute, Lonavala. They sent me for 10 days training as a goal realization and this managerial skill development. So if your mind is peaceful, then you can make decisions better. But during my entire career, madam, I was not able to practice them religiously every day. I was having this back pain, long hours sitting in the office. Then coal industry is very polluted industry. Dust problem is very much there. So I was having allergic asthma, and the
Asaliದ್ದೀನಿ.
indigestion, all this. So
ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
I retired on 31st December 2014, and from 1st January I started practicing yoga with full awareness, because my teacher said that awareness is the essence of yoga. Awareness, if you are stretching, you focus your attention on the muscles where you are getting sensation and stretches. So
Exactly.
I started did, you won't believe, madam, within 15 days my back pain gone out,
Wow.
body, my inhalation, this breathlessness I controlled, acidity I controlled. So now since that day I am practicing, 6-7 years has been passed from my retirement, and I am practicing yoga
You are
every.
looking very young, sir.
Thank
Madam,
you.
I am
Thank you so
running.
much.
You are the
Men-
craft.
Menon sir, please.
Madam, it has been very useful insight of many aspects you have covered up, madam, especially on the stress matter, how to dilute the stress, how the stress get developed up from in the various kosha, from starting from Manomaya kosha, how it percolates into the Annamaya kosha. Many aspects have been touched. The most important aspect was the medical fraternity is just aware of 0.5% of the mind concept of the mind. Yoga is fully aware of the mind concept. That's where the awareness concept has been brought out in yoga. As just now Mr. Prasad has told, with full awareness. So with full awareness and Paitnashatindam, we have also touched about all the definitions. Then the traditional system of food inputs are sattvic, rajasic and tamasic food. How the food also plays an important part in the development of yoga. Second. So, madam, Thane School of Yoga mainly concepts on the Yuktahara Samyaras on the chapter 6 or 17, and we see that all the students follow that mental level. Apart from it, we build up the character of the student, and I'm very glad
Very important.
during the
Very important.
during the period of 6 months, 5 boys have been passed from 5 yes Vyasa students have been passed from this school. Yes, and more students are likely to come because of I have been coordinating with many of the students so that they can go to the higher level of streams of yoga and practice themselves. One more request is there, madam. Nagendra ji is in the committee of the Ministry of Ayush and in the Gisma. Yoga therapy, which has been introduced in 2019. I want to see that Ayurvedic concepts are introduced in the syllabus, madam, so that an effective tool and apparently Arogam training has been given should also be included for the students of this work, so that post-COVID the students can get a better inputs on the therapy course and they can go to the field and practice very well. That is a humble. Thank you very much. We end up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Menon sir. Really, I appreciate ma'am's presentation. And Thane School of Yoga only believe on Swamiji Vivekananda's vision, be and make, and spreading the awareness. Only that only. Our logo is only about Swami Vivekananda's only, and in that below Yogo Bhavati Dukha means Yukta Ahara Viharasa Yukta Chestasya Karmasu. We are implementing that only because the life will be very much easy to live the person and society. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And
Ending prayer.
ending prayer. Ending prayer.
Yeah. With the closed eyes, hands in namaskar posture. Take a deep breath. Om. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Paschantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhagave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I
Thank you.
declared here the program is.
Thank you, madam. Dr. Jain
Thank you,
here.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Come to,
Thank you.
I am coming to Bombay. I am reminded very much of Maitri Milan days.
Acha, acha, acha.
And especially Thane School of Yoga, I improved my scripture knowledge due to association with Vijay Madekar. I am one of the faculty for therapy as well as this man. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Excellent explanation for all this yoga, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Vijayji, can I get your number?
Yeah. 9594.
Just a minute, sir. Let me note down.
9594
9594
356
356
555.
555. Yes.
Vijay. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
sir. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
मॅडम एक्झिट झाले का?
हो झाले छान झालं, एकदम मस्त झालं. जैन सरांना पण
All those presented are requested to come to next Friday's lecture of Madam's husband,
येस रघुरामजी.
Raghuram. He will be delivering lecture on Yoga Vasishtha, Pranjan Jain sir. Please.
Yes, sir. I'm there.
जैन सर.
Yeah.
Thane School of Yoga and Yoga Krida Prabodhini are not two different things. They are same entity.
Yes, योग क्रीडा प्रबोधिनी, ओमकार योगा क्लब, ठाणे स्कूल ऑफ योगा, ये सब मिलके करेंगे. ओके. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
निलेश महाराज त्याला सगळं बोलवा आता ना.
Yes,
हो
yes.
हो हो
चला
हो.
बाय बाय.
Bye bye bye. Chala bye.